You also want to make sure that your ingredients are definitely listed, because that goes back to you being honest and also being transparent about what you are doing in your business. If your customer uses a product that has an ingredient in there that you didn't list and then they break out, then they could potentially sue you. Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back to the KULTURED. My name is Janelle and I am the founder and KEO of KULTURED LLC, and today I am back with another video. In today's video, I will be talking about how to build your cosmetic website, but I won't go too in depth because website building can be very complex and it is very time consuming. It took me about a year to get the entire website together, but over the past 2 years I've made a few adjustments and updates to the website as well, and I also had to rebrand, and so I had to do a completely different website layout. And so it is very time consuming to build a website. And so for time's sake, I'm just going to talk about 3 different elements, which is branding, attracting customers, and some key pages that you should have on your website before you launch. And so I have my notebook so I do not get sidetracked and so I do not ramble. Let's go ahead and get right into this video. The first topic that I want to talk about is branding. Branding is so important, and it's the first thing that you should have together before you even think about building your website. And branding has a lot to do with your brand story, so your purpose. And remember that the brand story always has your customer as the lead character or as the star of your story, and your product is essentially the hero product or the problem solver. So your customer has a problem, your product slash service will solve that problem, but your customer is always the star of the story. So whenever you're building your website, just think about your customer first. Also, it has a lot to do with consistency. If you are not consistent, then you're going to confuse your customers and throw your customers off. They won't even feel so confident to buy your product or your service because they're confused and they don't want to get scammed. Nobody wants to get scammed. So if you're building your website, think about your logos, your fonts, also your colors. Make sure that whatever you have on your website as far as your font and your color scheme goes, that is also what is on your social media platform as well. And if you have t-shirts, make sure that your t-shirts also have the same logo and the same fonts, and also make sure that it's the same color as well, because if your customers see different colors, they're gonna be like, okay, wait a minute, is this her brand? Because her website has this color, or his website has that color, his t-shirt is this color, his Instagram has this color. And so what that does is it confuses your customers and it makes them not be able to recognize your business. So branding has a lot to do with making your business recognizable so that people will always be able to identify it without you even having to say the name of your business. Sometimes certain colors will allow your customers to identify your business. For instance, if I were to mention golden arches to you, then you will automatically know that I was talking about McDonald's. If I were to also mention a particular robin egg blue jewelry box, then you will also know what I was talking about. You would know that I was talking about Tiffany & Co. And so it's very important that you remain consistent with your branding so that eventually customers or people who are not your customers will be able to recognize your brand without you even having to mention the name. It's also important that you remain clear. Clarity improves your customers' buying confidence, not just from your website, but also on social media. So Instagram allows your customers to buy from your Instagram shop or Facebook shop, or you can buy from TikTok now. And so it's very important that your brand story is consistent all across the board, because if it's even a little bit off, some customers might be turned off from that. And so if you can take the time to make sure that your logos and your fonts are all the same across all of your websites, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and you're going to save yourself a lot of money by having to go back and redo a lot of these things, because sometimes you may not do it yourself. You may hire someone to do it. And so if you hire that person to help you with your branding, like logos, fonts, slogans, then you're going to have to continue to go back and repay them to redo it so that you can make sure that it's consistent on all of your platforms. So be sure to just make sure that you're using all of the same fonts. So for me in particular, I use a Libre font when it comes to my business. I use it on my labels, I use it on my website, and I also use it on social media. The tricky thing about your website is not all of the hosting sites will have the same fonts as, like, say, Canva, or that you can use on any other platform that you use to design your your business logos, if they don't have the same exact font on your website, then it's important that you find something that is very close to it. Also, when it comes to fonts, especially on your website, make sure that people can read the fonts. I know sometimes it's very fun to have a cute looking design type of font, but it is not okay if your customers cannot read it. So make sure that they are able to read whatever font that you have, especially when it comes to your labels as well. Always make sure that it is clear and it is able to be understood. The next thing I want to talk about is attracting customers. Sometimes people will go onto your website and they will scroll for a couple of seconds and then they'll exit your website. A lot of times it could be because they're confused. A lot of times it could be because they can't read the font. And a lot of times it's because they're just not familiar with your brand yet. And so one of the ways that you can attract customers is by growing your email list, but not just to ask people to leave their email address, but to offer some sort of incentive for leaving their email address. So this can happen whether you have already launched or you are in the pre-launch phase. It's a great way to attract customers to buy the day that you launch, but you also need to make sure that there's a way that they're getting to your website. This is where social media comes in hand. And so you're talking about your product, you're getting people hyped up, but you're telling them, hey, go to the website, pre-launch subscribers get 20% off and you get to purchase before everyone else does. And so that's a good way to get people to go to your website, to get people excited about your launch day. And so when they go to your coming soon page on your website, you can give them more information, or you can even post your about page, and people will be able to read a little bit more about your brand story from there, and then they can decide whether they want to subscribe to you or not. And so when they do subscribe, you can also offer some sort of incentive for subscribing. So hey, for subscribing, thank you so much. Here's a 20% off coupon code for you to use on the day that you purchase. Or you can offer a free product. If you're a lash tag or you're a your hairstylist, you can offer half off of a service or a free service. It's completely up to you, but you want to make sure that you're thanking your customers for subscribing, because not everybody wants to give up their email address, because people do not like a bunch of emails. I am one of those people. I cannot stand getting a bunch of emails, so give me a reason to give you my email address. One of the ways that I attract customers now to give me their email address is by giving them a fun quiz to take. And that quiz will ask them various questions about their hair concerns, their hair type, what products they like to use. And so not only do I provide them a 20% off coupon code for taking the quiz and allowing me to have their email address, but I also offer them a product recommendation based on their answers. And so not only did I give them a coupon code that they can use, I also allowed them to buy a product that would benefit them, so they're confident that the product will work based on their hair concerns. Another way to attract a customer is by using compelling content. You want to create content that will draw them in, persuade them, let them know that you know what you're talking about and you're not just trying to sell them a product. So that can happen on your social media, and your social media leads them back to your website, or that they actually Googled you, or they Googled about a certain thing that they were having an issue with, and then your website popped up. That also goes in with SEO, which is also called search engine optimization, and using the proper keywords so that you can be found if someone were to type in a concern that they had. And so your website will pop up. And remember, your brand story has a lot to do with allowing your customer to be the star, your information to be the guide, and your product/service to be the problem solver. And so if you have a blog page, and if you don't, I would say maybe create one. Your blog can talk about your product or your service. It can give them more information on how to better take care of themselves when they're not using your product. And so you want to make sure that your information on your website is relevant and is also helpful. By doing this, you are building your brand's reputation, and you're also letting your customers know, again, you know what you're talking about. And so how does someone find your blog? Well, that comes in with SEO and you using the proper keywords on your blog page or on other pages of your website. The last key component that I want to talk about in today's video is about the key pages that you should have on your website. Now, this varies from person to person, but I would say if you want to get the most out of your website and you want your customers to get the most out of your website, then I would definitely say have these pages so that they can read more. The more they read about your business and the more they become comfortable and familiar with it, the more they'll be confident in buying from your business. And so These key pages, like I said, you can add them to your website or you can leave them off of your website, but definitely monitor your website and see what people are attracted to. And if they're not staying on there very long, it could be because you don't have that much information for them to even look at. The first important page that you should have is a home page. Your home page features a lot of different things, but you don't want to put too much on there because you don't want your customers to become overwhelmed on your home page to where they're just like confused and they don't know what they're supposed to be looking at, or they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. It's kind of like a sales funnel. So your home page will have, of course, your website banner, and you can go all out. This is my website banner that I also have on my website that is also on my home screen for my laptop as well, and even on my phone. And so your website banner can actually draw them in. You can display whatever you want to on your website banner, but you also want to make sure that your website banner compels them enough to want to learn more. And so you can feature your product or your service. You can have yourself on there. You can have your brand ambassadors on there, whatever it is that you want. So if you're introducing a new product, put your new product on your website banner. It's completely up to you. But the next thing that you want to have on your homepage is your collections list. And so if you have a collection of maybe, let's say, 10 products at one time, I would definitely say only list your top 3 best sellers or maybe your top 2 best sellers. But you don't want to list all 10 on your homepage because it then can become very overwhelming to the point that your customer's just like, oh my gosh, he or she has all of this information on here and I don't know what to even choose. If you have a product or a service, you want to make sure that you are listing your top 3 best sellers or the top 3 products or services that can be most beneficial for them to purchase. The next thing that you want to list on your homepage are your key ingredients or your key features of your product or your service. And the reason why you want to do this is because you want your customers to know exactly what they are going to benefit from. You want to list, hey, this ingredient does this and it's a popular ingredient at the time, so you definitely want to highlight that as well, because they could be searching that ingredient on Google, and then let's just say because you did right when it comes to SEO and keywording that they found your website first, and because you use that ingredient, they're going to want to buy from you. And so make sure that you list your key ingredients and your key features of your service that you offer so that they'll know exactly what they're getting into. It could make them want to read more about that product or that service, and they'll be more confident to buy that product or that service. The next thing that you want to list on your homepage is your social media. Now you can have like a social media bar on there where they can see your last 4 or 5 posts on your social media page. That way they can click on it, and so they can go to your Instagram or your social media page that you have listed, and they can follow you on there. And remember, your social media platforms will also always have more content than your website, because again, you don't want your website to have so much information and become so oversaturated that they're turned off by it because it's just too much and they're overstimulated and now they're confused and they don't know what to buy, and so they leave your website. You don't want to do that. So make sure that a lot of your information is also on your social media page, because both of them can be lead magnets that revert back to each other. The next thing that you want to have on your homepage is important links, and the important links will go in the footer section. And in the footer section of your website, you can also have a subscription box where they can type in their email address and subscribe to you on your homepage. And also your important links will maybe mention your key pages that you have on your website. So your About You page, your About the Company page, a review page, and just any other important links that you want to put in the footer section that can lead them to that page. The next important page that you should have on your website is the About You page. And that About You page is split up into 2 different sections. So about the founder or about the founders, or about the company. And so when you want to talk about yourself as a founder or founders, or you want to talk about your company, you want to make sure that your brand story is consistent across both of those pages. Because remember, a lot of times when we start businesses, we start them because we noticed that there was a need in the market that we also need ourselves. And so we decided to share it with customers as well. And so they can be similar, but they can also be different as well, because on your About the Company page, your company is going to talk about the company's missions, your values, your intentions. It's also going to list your mantra. Your About the Company page also talks about your company's promise and what you promise to give to your customers. So from Cultured KURLZ perspective, I promise to give my customers clean and cruelty-free ingredients, and also to provide transparency to my customers as well. And this also goes back to me as an individual. I believe in being completely transparent, and I believe in walking in integrity. And so if my personal life reflects that, then in most cases my company will also reflect that too, because in a previous video I mentioned that your business is a reflection of you and that there is no such thing as business ethics. You either have it or you don't. The next page that you should have on your website is your product page, which is very simple. You have all your products listed so that people can click on your product or your service and buy your product or your service. And so what you should definitely have on your product page when they click on your product is, of course, the name, the size, who did it. So if you manufactured it, make sure that you put your company's name, or if someone else manufactured it, make sure that you put that company's name on there so that the customer knows exactly where it came from. You also want to put the description, your ingredients, a label to buy it, and you also want to make sure that you are listing the directions and the uses so the people are using it properly and so that they know how to use it as well. You can also list, and this is a bonus, you can list the reviews on there as well, how many stars it received. You can list maybe 2 or 3 different reviews from different customers, and you can also list a video of a customer using it or yourself using it so they're more familiar with how to use it. They can see a visual of someone using it. And you can also list, which is what I have on my website, a video of me making my products, or you can post a video of you talking about your service and showing yourself performing that service on a customer. Another page that you should have on your website is a contact page. And now this contact page will also help you build leads and attract customers to you, because customers will feel a lot better if they can contact you first, or they can get in touch with you so they can ask you more about your product or your service that you offer. On your contact page, you can also list your business hours if you have a storefront, or even if you're in e-commerce only, you can also list your store hours, because some people will email you in the middle of the night and then get mad when you don't respond back at midnight, as if we don't go to sleep. And so you want to make sure that you are also listing your address or a map of where your business is located, because if people are able to find your business, then they'll be able to go to you a lot more frequently because they don't get lost. And if they can't find your business, they're going to blow up your phone and they're going to send you a bunch of emails trying to find you. And if you don't respond back to your emails or your phone calls, that can also lead to a negative review, and customers will be hesitant from buying from you in the future. Another page that you should have on your website is your review page. Your review page allows for your customers to leave an unbiased opinion, which could help other customers in the future either buy or not buy your product. Now, your customer not buying your product is not a bad thing, especially because they may be allergic to a particular ingredient that you have in your products. And you also want to make sure that your ingredients are definitely listed, because that goes back to you being honest and also being transparent about what you are doing in your business. If your customer uses a product that has an ingredient in there that you didn't list, and then they break out, that they could potentially sue you or just leave a negative review that causes a lot of other customers to not trust your business anymore. It also helps you build credibility, and it also adds value to your brand, because it tells your customers that you care about what they think about what your business. And negative reviews can also help you improve upon your business, especially if those reviews are from customer service. And so always post your reviews, whether they are positive or negative, because again, it builds trust, and it lets your customers know that you care about what they think, especially if that negative review caused you to improve upon your business. They know that you care about what they think, and they know that you care about them as a customer, and that you also care about your business. Another page that you should definitely have on your cosmetic website is a blog page. Your blog page helps with talking about your product and your services. You can talk more about your business, and you can also share helpful tips and advice for your customers who are in between your products and your services. That way you can also shamelessly plug in your products and your services so people can buy them. So your blog is essentially a lead magnet for people to buy your product or your service. And you can also post an excerpt of your blog onto your social media page, and that too can serve as a lead magnet that can go right back to your website, or they can buy directly from your social media page as well. Posting a blog and allowing for people to comment on your blog also increases engagement. It gets people talking about the blog and sharing the blog with another potential customer. You can also post your social media handles at the bottom of your blog page so people can go back to your website or back to your social media pages as well. And you can boost engagement that way, so that the more people who comment on your blog and the most people who comment on your excerpt on social media, it will boost your post so more people will see it who haven't heard of your business yet. The last page that you should have on your cosmetic website is an FAQ page, or a frequently asked questions page. This page helps boost buying confidence. If everybody is able to find the exact answers that they need, simple answers, of course, that they need answered, then they'll be more confident to purchase from you. This is also where they can learn about your shipping, your returns, and refunds. They can also go and find your terms and conditions page and any other legal pages that you are required to have on your website. This all helps reduce website exits. If people are aware of your shipping and your returns, then they will be less inclined to also reach out to you and ask you in the middle of the night about, hey, what time should I expect my package, because that will already be on your FAQ page. Also, you want to make sure that if your refund policy is not posted, that you want to go and post that, because if people don't think that you have a refund policy, they may not purchase from you, especially if it's a cosmetic. Because think about it, they're putting this on their hair, their skin, they're putting it on their nails, and so they want to make sure that if they don't like it, if they have a bad reaction to it, that they can return it and they can get their money back. Okay, we're at the end of this video. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Also, I know this video was super informative, so let me know down in the comments below what was your best takeaway from today's video. Also, if you would like to learn more about SEO and website building and how complex it can be, and also using the proper keywording so your website is found, also make sure you leave a comment down below. And this is also the time where I ask you to do something for me. I need you to hit that like button, subscribe, and also make sure you click the bell so you get notified every single time I post on this channel. And I'll be seeing you guys real soon. Thank you. Bye, y'all.